You're not getting manipulated by accident. You're being chosen. Because you're smart. Because you think before you react. Because you try to understand people instead of judging them. And that is exactly why you're easier to control. And the irony? The higher your IQ, the deeper you fall. Science actually backs this up. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why. Think about this. Have you ever walked out of a conversation feeling like something was off, but you couldn't prove it? So you replay it in your head. You analyze every word. You try to make sense of it. And slowly, you start doubting yourself instead of them. That's not overthinking. That's manipulation. And the more intelligent you are, the more dangerous it becomes. Because manipulators don't break you with force. They let your own mind do it for them. They plant one small doubt, and your brain does the rest. By the time you realize what's happening, they're already in control. Manipulators don't go after the loudest person in the room. They go after the one who thinks the most, the one who feels deeply, the one who tries to make sense of everything. In other words, they go after you. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 psychological tactics that are specifically designed to work on people like you. Not obvious tricks, not cheap mind games, but psychological patterns that slowly make you doubt yourself, while the other person stays in control. And one of them is so subtle, most people never even realize it's happening until it's too late. If you've ever walked away from someone feeling confused, drained, or like you had to over-explain yourself just to be understood, you're not the problem, but you are the target. If that hits, subscribe. Because once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them. Let's begin. Sign number 1, gaslighting. Sign number 1, they don't lie to you, they make you lie to yourself. This is called gaslighting, and it's one of the most dangerous forms of psychological manipulation because it doesn't attack you directly, it makes you attack your own reality. Here's how it happens. You're in a conversation, everything feels normal until it doesn't. They say something that clearly crosses a line. You feel it instantly. So later, calmly, logically, you bring it up. No emotion, no drama, just facts. But instead of acknowledging it, they look at you and say, "That never happened. You're overthinking it. You always twist things." And right there, something shifts. Not in them, in you. Because now your brain goes into overdrive. Wait, did I misunderstand? Maybe I missed the tone. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. You start reviewing the conversation like evidence in a courtroom, replaying it, reanalyzing it, trying to find the exact moment you went wrong. And that's the trap. Because while you're busy questioning yourself, they've already escaped accountability. Psychologist Dr. Robin Stern, who coined the term gaslight effect, describes this as a systematic pattern of psychological manipulation that makes victims question their own perception of reality. In other words, it doesn't erase reality, it replaces it with doubt. And intelligent people fall into this deeper than anyone else, because you trust logic, you trust analysis. You believe if something feels off, there must be an explanation, so you search for one. And in that search, you slowly start arguing against your own truth. That's the moment control is established. Not when they lie, but when you start believing you might be wrong. If you've ever felt that quiet confusion, like something wasn't right, but you couldn't prove it, you've experienced this. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. Because sign number 2 doesn't attack your mind. It attacks something even stronger. Sign number 2, guilt-tripping, weaponized empathy. Sign number 2, they don't fight your kindness, they use it against you. This is called guilt-tripping, and it works especially well on people who actually care. Here's what it looks like. You say no to something, a simple, reasonable no. You're tired, you're busy, you have your own priorities. A healthy person understands that, but a manipulator, they don't argue, they react. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just go alone. I'm used to it anyway. And suddenly, the situation changes. Now it's not about your decision anymore. It's about their pain. And you feel it. That subtle weight in your chest. That quiet sense of guilt. So your brain starts working. Maybe I could have handled that better. It's not that big of a deal. I don't want them to feel bad because of me. So you cancel your plans. You show up. You fix it. And just like that, they get exactly what they wanted. No argument, no pressure, just control. Every time you sacrifice yourself to relieve their guilt, you train them to keep using it. And the worst part? It feels like you're doing the right thing. Because you're empathetic, because you care. But that's exactly why it works on you. You don't ignore emotions, you absorb them. And manipulators know that. If you've ever felt like you're constantly managing someone else's emotions, like their mood somehow becomes your responsibility, this is what's happening. And if you don't catch it early, it slowly turns you into someone who says yes, even when every part of you wants to say no. But sign number 3 is where it gets even more dangerous, because this time, they don't say anything at all. Sign number 3, silent treatment, emotional withdrawal. Sign number 3, the punishment that leaves no evidence. No shouting, no insults, no obvious conflict, just silence. This is called emotional withdrawal, and it's one of the most powerful control tactics ever used, because nothing is happening on the surface, but everything is happening inside your head. You have a normal disagreement, nothing major, but suddenly, they change. The tone disappears, the warmth is gone, replies get shorter, colder, or worse, they stop responding completely. And that's when it hits you, that quiet discomfort, then confusion, then overthinking. What just happened? Did I say something wrong? Maybe I pushed too far. So your mind starts searching for answers, and that's exactly the point. Because this isn't communication, this is control. Warm, cold, warm, cold. The same psychological pattern that makes gambling addictive. You never know when the warmth is coming back, so you start chasing it. Eventually, you reach out. You apologize, even if you're not sure what you did wrong. You just want things to feel normal again. And the moment you do, they come back. The warmth returns, just enough to reward your behavior. And just like that, your brain learns the pattern. Silence means I did something wrong. Fixing it means I get them back. That's not love. That's conditioning. And for intelligent people, this hits even harder. Because you're wired to solve problems, to restore balance, to make things make sense. But here's the truth. You can't fix what's being used against you. And the more you try, the deeper you fall into the cycle. If you've ever felt anxious just because someone went quiet on you, like their silence had power over your mood, this is why. But sign number 4 is even more deceptive. Because this time, they don't go silent. They smile, and still manage to break you. Sign number 4, insults disguised as jokes. Sign number 4, the insult disguised as a joke. No shouting, no direct attack, just a smile, and a sentence that stays with you longer than it should. This is covert criticism, and it's designed to damage your confidence without ever taking responsibility for it. You share something you're proud of, an achievement, a goal, something that matters to you, and they respond with a laugh. Oh wow, didn't expect that from you. That's actually surprising. Let's see how long that lasts. Small lines, easy to ignore, easy to excuse. And when you react, even slightly, they immediately pull back. Relax. It was just a joke. You're taking it too seriously. I'm just saying this because I care. And now, the confusion starts. Because your brain tries to make sense of it. Was it actually a joke? Maybe I'm overreacting. They said they care. So, instead of questioning them, you question yourself. Think about that one person, a co-worker, a partner, maybe even a family member, who always managed to make you feel small while smiling. That wasn't accidental, that was calculated. And that's where the damage happens. Not in the moment, but over time. Because these small comments don't feel like attacks. They feel like maybe they're right, so you start holding back, second-guessing your ideas, doubting your abilities, becoming a quieter version of yourself around the very person who's causing it. This is called covert devaluation. The goal isn't to break you instantly, it's to slowly lower how you see yourself, so their opinion starts to matter more than your own. If you've ever walked away from someone thinking, "I don't feel like myself around them anymore," pay attention to that, because the most dangerous damage is the one you slowly accept. And sign number 5 is where everything comes together, because by the time you see it, you might already be alone. Sign number 5, isolation, coercive control. Sign number 5, the slow erasure of everyone else in your life. This is called isolation, and by the time you notice it, it's already done. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly, logically, step by step. At first, it feels like concern. They question one friend. "I don't know. Something about them feels off." Have you noticed how drained you are after seeing them? And you pause, because you have felt that way once or twice. So you think about it, you analyze it, and maybe you pull back a little. Nothing dramatic, just a little distance. Then it happens again. Another comment, another doubt, this time about someone else, your family. They don't really understand you. I'm the only one who actually gets you. And again, it sounds reasonable. So you start connecting dots, looking for patterns, finding small pieces of evidence that support what they're saying. And without realizing it, you begin to agree. Not because they forced you, but because it feels like your conclusion. That's the strategy. This is called coercive control, where the manipulation is so subtle, you believe every decision was yours. So you cancel plans more often. You stop sharing things. You drift. A little, then more, until one day you look around and your world has gotten smaller, quieter, and the only person left is them. No outside opinions, no reality checks, no one to say, "Hey, something isn't right." And that's when control becomes complete, because now your reality is shaped by a single voice. If you're watching this and something just clicked, if you've noticed your circle shrinking around one person, hear this clearly. That's not love. That's a cage. And cages don't always look like control. Sometimes they look like comfort, until you try to leave. Now that you can see these patterns, let's make one thing clear. Awareness means nothing if you don't act on it. So here are 3 things you can start doing immediately. Number 1, stop trusting only your thoughts. Start trusting your body. Manipulation lives in your mind, but your body reacts to truth. That tension in your chest, that anxiety around a specific person, that constant feeling of confusion, that's not random. That's your system telling you something is off. And if your mind and your gut ever disagree, pay attention to the one that doesn't need to overthink. Number 2, set a boundary. Not a speech, not a long explanation, just a simple no. And then watch what happens. Healthy people respect boundaries. Manipulators resist. They guilt trip. They try to break them. You don't need to analyze intentions, just observe their reaction. That will tell you everything you need to know. Number 3, reconnect quietly. If distance has already happened, don't panic. You don't need to fix everything overnight. Just reach out to one person, one message, one call. Because the moment you bring another perspective into your life, their control starts to weaken. Manipulators don't fear confrontation, they fear perspective. Now here's the truth most people never say out loud. You weren't manipulated because you're weak. You were manipulated because you have qualities that are rare. You think deeply. You feel deeply. You try to understand instead of react. Those are strengths. The problem is, in the wrong hands, those strengths get turned into weapons against you. But now, Now you see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee them. So no, being smart doesn't protect you. It makes you a target, unless you understand the game being played. And now, you do.